Welcome in, everybody, wherever you are, however you may be listening. This is your Wednesday wrap-up, and, of course, I am here with my man, Herb. I see that Raj isn't in the comments yet, so he's probably late. How's it going, man?
My goodness.
There he is.
He said, no way. Well, after getting called out last night, man, we couldn't have anything like that, right? So said,
that is awesome. How's it going, Wen?
What's up, man? Good to see you.
So good. So good. How's it going, man?
Man, it's going to be a good morning. That was an omen. That was right there.
So, lots going on in the sports world. Obviously, rookie mini camps have already kicked off. You got playoff basketball going on. Major League Baseball is underway. And, wishing Cabrera a speedy recovery. He had a gruesome injury here in Seattle. Just kind of an awkward slide into home and absolutely just busted his ankle up.
Yeah.
So he'll be done for the year. Hopefully everything heals back the way it's supposed to. Hopefully there's no nerve damage or anything like that. So.
Yeah. That was like one of those dramatic scenes, too, where like missing home plate, getting back to it after you hurt yourself. But it's just kind of like, here's the final scene. I was like, oh, you know what I mean? It was just heartbreaking right there.
Well, and you know why he left his hand on the bag, right? Because it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, a guy was sliding it was either second or third, and he hurt his shoulder on the slide. He lifted his hand to call time. Yeah. Dude tagged him, and they called him out. It's like, come on. I feel like dude's laying there in pain, and he's just like, hey, I need a minute.
Right.
And, so it makes sense that he's sitting there like, I understand my leg is broken. It's still going to be broken whether I'm safe or out. Right. So my hand is on the bag.
Then we're going to do this, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely brutal. And, both medical staffs went out there. They carted him off. And, hopefully it'll be, a speedy recovery for him.
Definitely. Hate to see injuries, period, man. It's always tough. Especially season enders. That's just tough to watch.
Yeah, well, and that's where, that's where the NBA playoffs get interesting, right? You have Jason Tatum. He gets an Achilles injury, and you have to assume Boston's basically done now.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing with them was they were done maybe before the injury, that was his best game of the series, and they had still lost the lead by the time he got hurt,
Yes.
So then now you're already down 3-1 and you're going back. So he's out. You're already blowing leads. Like, you were the best team in the series and down 0-2. Lose your best player. Yeah, like you said, this is probably done. For Boston, it's long-term implications because now he's probably going to miss all of next year. So now what do you do?
Well, and it begs to question, like, what is going on from a training standpoint that you're seeing so many more Achilles injuries than we used to?
Right?
We used to see a lot of ACL, MCL.
Yes.
Which you still do, don't get me wrong. But Achilles were like an outlier.
Yes.
Like, it very rarely happened, and it was usually a career ender, right? Like, if you tore an Achilles, is wrap. So, obviously medical science on that end has gotten way better. You can come back from an Achilles. But it's weird that there's been so many more, or at least apparently more. Like, maybe they just weren't well documented before. But it seems like you're getting a couple a year now.
Yeah.
And so it makes you wonder, like, what is different in training and conditioning that they're not doing now that they used to?
Because I'm trying to figure out. I had a thing where it had the numbers too, and somebody here posted 6 was the number, and I think Dame just tore his during the playoffs also, and you had, like you said, several beginning of the year. I don't know. That's especially for an injury that's considered even worse than the ACL, especially considering its timeline.
For sure. Well, and then on top of that, you're looking at, it's not unique to basketball. Like, you're seeing a bunch more of it in football and just really across sports. So then, that's where it's like, where is it it has to be a conditioning thing, right? Like, it can't be a nutrition thing. These guys spend more on their bodies now than they ever have.
Right.
So Yeah, I would be curious to see what it is. Like, are they not stretching it the way they used to? Or, I mean, is it I don't know. Like, I'm not sure what the answer is there, but it's a problem. It's a noticeable problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to read more about it too. And I was on this like last night too as well. But it's like you said, you're spending more and the science is better. It doesn't feel like that's one, and then it says on here stuff like, oh, the way they plant and press off, that's why it's NBA. But I feel like it's all sports anyway. It's just, I don't know.
So
bigger than any body parts.
Jay, you're kind of right. They're bigger, faster, stronger, whatever. I mean, some of that's true. But you can't tell me that applies to Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. So, and they both popped them, and it's not even like when you think of Klay Thompson, when he popped he's a perimeter shooter. He doesn't really do what some of these, like you almost kind of get it for the guys that are running around the whole time. Like Tatum going down makes sense. Kobe going down makes sense, right?
Yeah. Durant when he did, yep.
So, yeah, but when you're looking at like a perimeter guy who is more of a catch and shoot, not to say that he doesn't play defense, and so obviously, there's more to his game than just standing on the edge. That's not what I'm trying to say. But it's it's a scenario where it hits guys whether you're the guy or not, or maybe you're not the most athletic dude ever, like a Kirk Cousins. So I mean, it doesn't seem to care if you are a Durant or a Cousins. Like it seems to be going either way, which is why I key in on, is it a conditioning issue?
Yeah.
Like, is it something that we used to do that used to stretch that calf muscle and elongate your Achilles that we're not doing anymore? That's something that I may have to reach out to a buddy of mine that is a athletic trainer to see if maybe he can weigh in on that sometime.
Yeah.
It is a very curious injury, especially because it seems more.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, the last two guys that did it, Tatum and Lillard, both in these playoffs, are like nothing alike as far as, and neither one of them is, Dame's a shorter guy. He's definitely, well muscled, but he's also a perimeter guy who doesn't really play a lot of defense. So it's not like him and Tatum have many similarities at all, Yeah. So, and that's two totally different things. So it is an interesting thing. So it was a good thought though, Jay, for sure.
For sure. And I'm sure there is some truth to it, right? I mean, when you think back to like the NFL Combine, a guy running a 4.3 was maybe one guy a year, right? Now you got guys that are dipping into 4.2s. You got 4.3s all over the board, right? So these guys are faster. So I mean, like you're not wrong in your thinking there. It just, in this case, that injury doesn't seem to care.
Yeah, definitely. And unfortunate, man. Like those timelines, especially if you go out during the playoffs, it costs you a whole nother year. That's just tough,
Exactly.
We both know you don't have many left as far as athletes go, period. So
this is an interesting, I appreciate this, Jay. The Achilles injuries doubled since 2009 to 2016.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Yeah. Wow. So at least we're not wrong in thinking that more of them have been happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Outside of that, Boston, like we said, is probably done. The Cavs look like they're done.
They lost last night. They're done.
Oh, they did lose last night. Okay.
They're done.
Yeah, I mean, they were playing so flat in this series. I mean, I know they started the series with some injuries, but those guys came back, and even with them, it didn't matter.
No.
They weren't. They didn't look right.
No, no. The Pacers just and they've been playing. It's one of those things where the regular season can be very deceiving. It's kind of like the opposite of college football, where the committee says we don't take like your last 6 games into account, we take the whole thing. For the playoffs, they care about that. And they were playing some of the best over the last 2 months. So, and I know Mitchell got hurt, but didn't he still hit 35? Wasn't he averaging at least over 30 for the series? So
yeah,
he was out there gutting it out. The Pacers were just the better team. Like you said, crazy hot. They've been playing some of the best ball over the last couple months. And let's be honest, man, you know how it is. Belief is a huge, huge thing for these guys. You go into a series thinking we can get this, and you punch the other team in the mouth. Sometimes that's all it takes, man. But you took the first 2 games in Cleveland, that was trouble, man. And Halliburton has just proven, man, keep me close until the last minute, and I got you. So they're just playing great ball.
That next series is going to be kind of fun to watch.
Knicks versus Pacers. That's some old school, man.
Right?
The guys getting thrown in the stands kind of stuff, maybe. I don't know. That could be an interesting series. So.
Yeah, well, and Jay, I agree. Like I thought Indiana was going to get run off the floor. The Cavs have been hot.
Cleveland. Yeah.
And I thought Boston was going to do work, but I mean, even before Tatum got hurt, they just didn't look great.
The Knicks lost every game to I think it's Boston, Cleveland, and the Thunder. Lost every single game by double digits, throughout the regular season.
Basically every playoff team.
Yeah. I was like, are you kidding me the way this is going? So at this point, New York for sure needs to make the finals for good ratings.
No question. Yeah.
The West would have been Golden State, but that's not going to happen just because of Curry. So
yeah, no, exactly. Because he can't come back until Game 6. I don't know if there's going to be one.
No, there's not. Jimmy Butler has decided to not do playoff Jimmy to rescue them. So this is what happens, man. Tatum goes down, right?
Yep.
I expect Jaylen Brown to hit like 30 tonight. Even if Boston loses, I expect him to go out firing.
Sure.
Jimmy Butler, in this last game took like 9 shots. And you're like, without Steph, you've got to be the guy. And then you go back and actually read, I was just reading an article before we came on here. The teams that he has burned down on the way out, he plays terrible at their place traditionally. Minnesota, he skipped games until he finally had to play when he plays terrible. So him trying to help stave off elimination at Minnesota is probably going to be very ugly tonight. So, yeah, CJ agrees. Golden State versus Knicks, yeah, would have been. But only, like I said, just because of Curry. Curry would have been carrying that matchup for sure.
Oh, yeah, I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. So what, you think it's the T-Wolves that would be from the West?
Because it's still Minnesota, man. I think the Thunder is going to get there. I think they have the most balanced, and they're still the number 1 overall seed in the entire NBA. I just don't know how good they are for ratings. SGA is kind of underrated still, even if he wins MVP. And most people can't name, like the most average person can't name a single other player on that team. So, and there's Oklahoma City. Let's just be honest. It's not a huge grab. So maybe different because of Jokic, but I don't feel like most people are clamoring to watch him play either. So
no, I mean from a rating standpoint, I don't think it matters either way. But I just think that OKC, again, young team. They got their first playoff beat down last year. They've made it further in this one than last year, if I remember right. So I don't know if they get over the hump in the next series. I mean, obviously they're going to win this one, but I don't know if they get past the T-Wolves. They might.
I think they have the better team. And so,
no question. Yeah. No question. I think it might just be inexperience.
Yeah. And that helps. And they kind of need a second guy, but the T-Wolves don't have that either. So I think that's what kind of makes that matchup a little bit better for the Thunder. Neither one of them has that second guy that you really think is going to be your guy yet, So, and yeah, to this point, Butler was the guy in the game before. He wasn't the last. Like, that's not what if one of your stars is out, you can't have that, And it can't be if he took 20 shots and his shot was just off, that's fine. But if you're going to take like 9, then you're not even trying. So, no.
Yeah.
And yeah, I knew that the T-Wolves were up 3-1. So if they're going to close it out, and Butler, if he doesn't show up, that's it.
You have to think he's going to give it one last hurrah before they fall apart, right? Like you think he's going to have one good game, and then, it's kind of one of those, the first closeout game, you don't want to just go out whimpering, right?
Right.
It's kind of like losing a game of, cornhole is that first time you're down point, match point, you're like, no, I'm winning this particular round. I might go out in the next round, but this one I'm gonna survive. It feels like they have that kind of team that they can kind of rally around and get one last win, and then that'll be it.
Yeah. I'm with you. When is it the other? So if you don't take enough shots to get it done and you don't look aggressive, that's when you disappear. If the other team stops you, if you take a lot of look, the way Golden State is constructed right now, Butler could take as many shots as he wants. He can call his play every single time. He's the only one on that team that can really get to the hole, create his own offense. The rest of those guys are waiting. That is a Steph-centric team. So right now, Butler can pretty much do whatever he wants. If he shot like every time down, there's not really a whole lot of people that say anything to him or defer to him.
No, so, in fact, if you were listening to TV commentators, they'd be like, "Oh, Butler's trying to just put it on his back and win this for the team." And
yes.
I mean, he wouldn't get barbecued even if he had a bad night.
Yes, and we can accept that. Like I said, if he took like 20 shots and had a bad night, I'm with that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I say, he was 5 for 9 shooting. His plus minus was a -30, which I know plus minus isn't always the thing, but yeah.
It's the fact that you only put up 9 shots. Like that's the problem, because you are a primary scorer.
Yes.
So to only take 9 shots, best case, right? Best case, you made all of them.
Yes.
You got 20 points on the game. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. And then the fact that you were 5 for 9 means you weren't just off or anything. So that's what I'm saying, Jay. I don't like that. And then when you say Steph's not there, Butler's got to be the guy. So that's why I'm being harder on him than anything else. So.
Well, and it's not like with Steph gone, you have a crazy drop off on defense or something, right? Like it's not like Steph is a all world kind of defender. Right. I mean, he has moments where he plays good defense, but defense isn't what he's known for. Right. Like, I mean, he plays okay defense, kind of generally a liability, though, if we're honest.
Right.
So for him to not be on the court, you're missing his shooting, but you're not missing anything on the other side. So you should be able to still play good defense.
Yeah.
And you should be able to find your points. Now, can you be lobbing 3 balls up all the time? No, you don't have the other shooters for that, which means you need to be able to drive and get the mid-range jumper going. And it's one of the things that's frustrating with the NBA today is these teams live and die by the 3 so much,
right?
Which is why you'll see guys get blown out by 30 points because they didn't realize, hey, we're shooting 20% from 3. Maybe we should take 3 steps inside, and you don't even have to dribble. That's not a travel in the NBA anymore.
Nope.
Like,
now, to be fair, you're allowed to take 3 steps backwards to get to the 3-point line. They might call it if you take the 3 steps in. It's a weird NBA rule.
Yeah, that weird like jump backwards and then shoot. It's like I thought that used to be an up and down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. I do got to apologize to Jay on one thing. I did forget. Julius Randle is having a great playoff right now. If he can continue this, then the T-Wolves have that second person. So I totally wasn't thinking about him. But he's been – I thought he'd be focused against the Lakers because that was his former team. But he's also taking advantage of the Warriors' lack of size too. So he's been an excellent number 2 right now.
Yeah.
I'm still not always a fan of him because I feel like he's a ball stopper. But you got to give credit where credit is due. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, you can have a ball stopper on the team. They just can't start with the ball.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I always thought about Westbrook at times.
Yeah.
Is if he starts with the ball, I don't know why you got the other 4 guys on the floor.
Right.
Because
unfortunately,
ain't none of them going to see it. Although I will say he has become more of that team guy.
Yeah.
Finally, right? Like it took him a long time, but he's finally able to like give the ball up. I think he's realized that maybe he's not quite as athletic as he once was.
Yeah.
But
and I think coming off the bench has kind of been more of a humbling sort of thing too, as well.
Yeah.
So, for sure.
I mean, I'm impressed that he was able to do it because a lot of those guys, the ego doesn't let them come off the bench and they kind of prematurely end their careers.
Yeah.
So he's sort of embraced that role. I mean, it's been forced upon him over the last couple of years, but he seems to be okay with it at this point. Yeah. He seems to just embrace the fact that, okay, I'm going to get, 10 minutes a game, 10, 12 minutes, and I'm just going to maximize what I can.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of the pitch they got to him, but I think it started maybe with the Clippers. He wasn't willing to do that, I think, with the Lakers. And then finally, after another couple of teams like the Clippers, I can do it. And then you go to more of a senior team, veteran team with Denver, and they're like, "This is what we need from you." You can't really argue. Plus, who are you disappointed? You're not bumping out one of those other guys in the starting lineup anyway. So,
no, for sure. And I mean, they were clear up front too. They're like, "Look, if you want to play for us, this is what we need." But you don't have to, and we don't have to either.
Right. Right.
So
we're moving forward with or without you. So what do you want to do?
Exactly. Well, and of course, if you're him, do you say, "Hey, yeah, okay, I can come off the bench, I can do this thing because I want to keep playing," or do you do the AI thing where you're just like, I can't do it, I'm done.
Right.
So it'd be tough to not take the money.
Yes.
Playing 10 minutes a game.
Yeah. Yeah. And can you continue playing when you think you can still play? So, yeah, I get it. Go for it. There's an interesting series, too. They went down 3-2 last night. So, but going back to Denver, I expect a win and then a game 7. So, like you said, for the Thunder. So, for the T-Wolves, that's another reason to go ahead and close it out tonight. A little bit of extra rest.
For sure. Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things I thought got Golden State, even before Steph got hurt, is last series really wore them down as an older team.
Yes.
They take it the distance. They come into this. And, there is a point where if you're an older team, getting a series done early is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Raj was saying that about the Lakers in the first round when they thought they were going to go far. He was like, we can't afford a 7-game series. No, Golden State's exactly in the same boat, especially when you're so reliant on one player who puts so much into every possession. Like, follow Steph around on a possession, and you're like, dude, I'm tired. I'm sitting at home. Like, this is crazy. You can't afford a 7-game series with that. Draymond's getting older. Butler's older. Yeah, you can't afford that with series like that. Well, Anthony, like 23, he's fine. He's like, whatever.
Yeah, well, there is that. No, I mean, but I was thinking that in the last series because there were a couple of games where Steph was big on defense, right? Like he was running up and down the floor and all of that. And I was just like, man, if they make it through this, like that's going to get them next round. Now, I didn't see him getting hurt. I mean, he's been durable. So I didn't see that part of it. But I thought, the older guy is going to be gassed. If you got to go 7 games every time, you're probably not going all the way.
Yep. Oh, and Jay had made one point in there with Kuminga. I don't think Steve Kerr knows what he's doing with Kuminga. It's really weird. He sat him down for most. Kuminga's like played really great the last couple games, I think it is, and I don't know. I don't think if you go listen to a Warriors podcast, one of those guys is really down on Kuminga. He'd be like, if they kick Kuminga off the team tomorrow, he'd be fine. So it's just a weird. I don't know. Yeah. He's getting more time all of a sudden. He's playing good, so I don't think these losses are on him. So,
and I don't think Kerr's done a bad job. And Green, it's funny. Like people don't like Green, right? They say he's a dirty player. He's, he even came out and was like, "Oh, people are portraying me as a angry guy." And I mean, he plays like an angry guy, so like I get the narrative behind it, but. Think back to any of the great teams. They always had a guy that was sort of an enforcer, grinder kind of guy. And best example of that was Dennis Rodman for the Bulls.
Yep.
Right? What did he average points-wise? Like 2 points, 4 points a game? Like it was nothing, right? Yeah. And the thing that's funny is Rodman could actually shoot pretty decently. It's not like he was a terrible shooter, but he knew his role.
Yeah.
And he embraced that role. Green, very similar. Like he embraces his role within that system. So yeah, whether you like the guy or not, he does exactly what they need him to do. He gets the boards, he gets the necessary fouls when you need them. He's the enforcer to the point that people do play a little different around him because they're like, is he going to hard foul me? Is he just going to punch me in the face? Like, I have no idea. So, sometimes having a guy that is a head case on your team is helpful. Yeah. So, yeah. And that's not to say that he is, out of control or anything.
Hey, Raj.
What's that?
I don't think you can post his comment, but geez, Raj, talking about Dylan Brooks over there.
Well, so, and that was, and that's the thing is he's not wrong.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely right.
Brooks is a jerk 100%. And I thought it was hilarious that he called Green a dirty player. Yeah. Because dude's as dirty as it gets. So if anybody else said it, I'd be like, oh yeah, I mean, Green can be dirty. But coming from Brooks, you're like, dude, you might be the dirtiest player in the league. That'd be like
without any positives, though. There's not like
exactly.
You don't go into a game thinking, oh, Brooks is going to shut this guy down. No, Brooks right now is known for trying to poke the bear with LeBron James. I was like, yeah, you weren't winning that fight. That was just
right.
But you don't think of any great Brooks moments or Brooks, Brooks won us. You don't think of any of that thing. Memphis got so tired of Ja Morant that they got rid of Dylan Brooks. Like that tells you.
Right. Well, I mean, when you think about it on the NFL side, that'd be like Sue saying someone was dirty.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, you literally stomped on someone's head. Like, I don't feel like you can make that argument.
Right. Right. So.
Man.
And back to the original question. No, I think if Kerr has any failing, it's he hasn't integrated the younger guys with the older guys. And I don't know if that's a management thing or just him, but I think those three that you mentioned are good. But, Klay Thompson in his prime was a much better fit for them than Butler was because you had another outside shooter. You can't have Butler, who's not a great outside shooter, Green, who's not, if he knocks down 2 threes, you're like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, but it probably won't happen for another 5 games. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you basically have Steph as your primary guy, and then 2 guys are good at defense. But the mixing is a little different. That team was built for Thompson to be that other guy. That's when they were elite because they could really stretch the floor. So I don't think he's done a bad job, but it's like to Jay's earlier point with Kuminga, he hasn't meshed in the other guys. So what's up, Carol?
How's it going?
Carol's our favorite Georgia Bulldog fan.
Oh, okay. Right on. Well, welcome to the show. Thanks for watching. And we do have to say goodbye to our radio audience. So if you're listening on ICU 97.3, thanks for tuning in. And if you want to see the rest of the show, just pop over to our YouTube or Roku channels, National Streaming Sports, or on YouTube at Football-Talk. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week. As for everybody else, we will stay tuned for a little bit of the NFL. And, of course, we kick that off with Carr going into retirement.
I've never seen – it's been a while since I've seen Saints fans this happy. It's so – and you said it on there, like, why? I don't know, but go look. And they're just – first off, they thought he was stealing money. And then I think maybe more because they thought he was going to be on the roster and not play all year and just collecting a check, that the retirement was better for them. But yeah, it's
Carr is the opposite of Green. Carr is actually a super good dude.
Yes.
You wanted to see more success for the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you think back to his Raiders days, like he had good seasons. He just had no defense at all.
Yeah.
And, he gets to the Saints. The roster looks decent. And then they just could never get their pieces to work together right. Like it was really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But more than anything, that shoulder has to be a real issue. Like, I mean, I know he had surgery on it. Now they're talking about he may need another one. There's nerve damage. So I mean, he may have never been able to play again anyway.
Right.
Or
That's
they may have informed him that like if you keep playing, it's going to be a real problem.
Yeah.
But sad to see him go out that way. Hard to believe he only made it to the playoffs once.
Yeah. Oh, wow. No, I wouldn't have. Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Because
and
you did
one.
see, like you said, there were some good Raiders moments. And then 2 years ago, I want to say on our preview show, we were all like, yeah, Saints can win this division. And then like last year, they started off as one of the hottest teams.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't put it all on his feet or all on his shoulders. Haha. But it is weird, for a guy that shows and look, he was never elite. I get that. But he was always good, and you can win plenty with good quarterbacks. So
no question.
I
mean, with a good quarterback.
Yeah, Jay, I'm shocked also.
Yeah. No. So that is the thing exactly. Fun with puns. Let's go. Yeah, I mean 0-1 in the playoffs. But when you think back to those Raiders teams, those defenses were ranked in the bottom like 3 to 5 every single year. So because he wasn't elite, he needed a defense that could pick him up if he made a mistake. And he just never had it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's not like he didn't do a good job. Like he threw for 4,000 yards a few times. And I mean, he gave Devontae his best career year ever.
Yeah.
And, that team just couldn't go anywhere. Then you go over to the Saints. I mean, you're already behind the 8 ball with Dennis Allen as a coach. And then you end up with guys like Kamara getting hurt. And I mean, key pieces of that offense not really clicking. Carr and his receivers could never seem to really get on the same page.
Right.
So it just, it's really too bad. But not to say that he's going to have a tough time. Like I would imagine he steps right into the booth somewhere. Right. I mean, his brother's been in the booth forever. So I would imagine that he's going to end up on ESPN or NFL Network or something right away.
I feel like if you're a retired player, especially a quarterback whose face has been out there a lot, there's a minimum 1-year deal waiting for you. So now what you do after that is whatever. But I always feel like, hey, you're going to step into something where he'll be fine for the first year. And so,
well, especially because his brother David has been, a commentator of sorts, right? For 15 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would imagine it'd be very easy to kind of be like, hey, let's bring my brother in. Like,
I also hear brother podcasts are a great thing. So, hey, if you're just,
there you go.
Avenue.
I think there's one like every Tuesday night.
Every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Central. I've heard, two brothers going at it for the whole podcast. So,
he did do well in the contract front. I think outside of Kirk Cousins, he's probably had the best. Yes, absolutely. We are brothers.
Yes.
It's outside of Kirk Cousins. I think he's had the most money for the least playoff success.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So,
for a guy you've never thought was like just trash or not like starter level, he's never been one of those guys like, oh, they got to get rid of him. He's got, there've been flashes and I don't know. Yeah. I wouldn't have guessed that till you said it.
Like he, to me, is in that same caliber as like a Flacco or a Matt Ryan or, like he's in that same kind of window. They just had better teams.
Right.
So like, do I think that he could have done some things in the playoffs if he had a defense? Yeah, probably. Could he have won a Super Bowl? Entirely possible.
Yeah.
Was he ever elite? No, which is why you needed a complete team. Yeah. Like he's not that guy that was able to just put a team on his back and make it happen. He needed a team.
Yeah.
And there's
Flacco capitalized on exactly one run. He's like, "Oh, you guys are ready? Okay, you're gonna get my best ball during this one playoff run." And then maybe never again. So yeah, sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say he had elite years. He had a couple of great seasons. I don't know that I would ever put Flacco in that elite status. Same with guys like Matt Ryan and stuff. Like they don't quite hit that level for me.
Matt Ryan, didn't he win an MVP though?
He did. I mean, he had one season that you could legitimately say was an elite year.
Right.
And you could say that for Flacco's Super Bowl winning season also. Like he played incredibly well that year, but he also had one of the best defenses.
Right.
So,
no doubt.
And that year that Matt Ryan, absolutely balled out. Similarly, they had a great defense. I mean, they had a great team all around, but they had a great defense that year. So it's easier for quarterbacks to look awesome if you get more opportunities.
True that. That's only once over 4,000. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's a good quarterback and he makes good decisions, but he's never been like that dude. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you can win rings with that.
Yeah.
You just have to have a complete team around him.
Yeah. We call them game managers, and sometimes it sounds like an insult, but sometimes a game manager is knowing, look, if I throw the ball away here and I punt, my defense is going to be pretty good for me. Versus, I try to fit it in this window that I'm not great for. We get an interception, and now the other team's starting in our 30. I'm giving away points, and sometimes that's just the difference in what we call a game manager. Like Alabama, that's what we started our run on, was game managers. Like, look, man, we only need you to be clutch once or twice, and during the playoff runs, we need you to be good then. But for most of your season, look, just don't be bad. And that's, like you said, it's not a bad thing if you know you're luck. Now, if you're Joe Burrow and you have zero defense, we need you to be elite and we still might lose. So you can do whatever you want on offense. Okay, hey, you're throwing into triple coverage? That's fine. Because look, whether they start from our 30 or their 30, they're probably scoring anyway. So at least if they start from our 30, we get the ball back quicker and maybe you have a chance to go score. So that's really it.
Well, so there you go, Jay. 4,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. That's not a great touchdown to interception ratio, right? Now, I would bet that was probably their Super Bowl year, and he did have a great postseason. Like, he did everything in the postseason that he's supposed to do.
Right. So, I don't remember his stats offhand, but I remember the postseason run being like, all right, Flacco's, he's dealing now. So
exactly. So, but I mean, he's just, there you go. No elite years. Yeah, no, I mean, but again, there's nothing wrong with a game manager. Yeah. Like, I would rather my guy make smart decisions and have a good defense than a guy that's like, hey, I'm the most expensive guy in the league and I don't trust my defense, so I'm going to try and fit this ball into a window that's probably not going to work out. Right. But whether we give them the ball on R40 or we punt it away, they're probably scoring anyway. I mean, that's usually where those guys are like, I'm going to go play hero ball because my defense is going to give up the points anyway. So we
like have the Joe Burrows.
That's exactly it.
Every single play, he's like, look, it don't matter what I do, so I'm going to try the tough stuff. So I get it.
Burrow is 100% we have to score every time. And we better have the ball last so that, because whoever scores last is going to win this game.
Yes.
And I don't know. So on that note, speaking of the Bengals and doing weird stuff, we have the Jags releasing Gabe Davis. And that almost cements the fact that Travis Hunter will be on offense.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just weird to me because you got a guy that can play defense. You have a team that needs defense, and you're going to use a guy that actually plays the defensive side of the ball better on offense.
Yeah. I didn't get that. And that means, I guess, the Gabe Davis experiment was really, really quick. So
and expensive.
Yes. Talk about a huge misstep. Yeah, I don't know. I was always way more impressed with Hunter on defense, and this comes from a guy who's seen. It feels like I've watched every Colorado game for the last 2 years. And even in evaluations, it was more heavily skewed towards defense. And I get it if you were drafting him in your regular spot and telling him, hey, we're going to have packages and where you get on offense, we're going to play primary defense. I was totally with that. But when you trade up to get that guy and maybe play him on the side where he's not the best at, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Not to say that he's bad at it. So
No. I'm saying he's not as good at it as his other side.
For sure.
So I don't feel like, no, sorry if I misspoke there. No. I don't think he was bad.
It's just the way that it sounded. It's like, yeah, he's kind of.
No. I just feel like at corner there's like some elite skills, and
Yes.
at wide receiver there were some good skills. And if I'm getting a guy in the if I'm getting the second pick, I really want to maximize that value. And we both know that this isn't going to last like 10 years playing both sides.
Well, he's not going to get to play both sides.
Yeah. So you want to get most.
That's where the defense would have made so much more sense, because it's much easier to have packages on offense than a package on defense, right? I mean, if you come in for certain scenarios on offense, but on defense, you're going to come in as a nickel or a dime corner, maybe, right? I mean, because you can't have them coming in as a disruption to the main unit. Right. Like, that doesn't make a ton of sense. So I don't know. It's going to be weird. And yes, Travis Hunter did get hurt in Colorado, albeit one of them was a pretty dirty shot on the sideline while he was a receiver.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Yep.
So
clearly on the sideline, which, by the way, kudos to him actually making up with the guy afterwards and then being cool, because I would have been like petty for life, but no. Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to let him play special teams. If he's playing offense and some on defense, I think at some point you just got to get him off the field.
Basically.
I mean, they're not going to let him take 150 snaps a game. Like, they're just not going to do it. He won't survive a season playing that much.
Agreed.
Yeah. So,
and I'm never going to say he's an average wide receiver. That was a total misstep on my part. I just felt like he was better on defense than offense. But yeah, I apologize to the Hunter family and anybody who may have been.
No, and I agree with you. I do think he's a better defender than he is a receiver. But yeah, that's why I was like, I mean, you did make it sound like he's like,
Yeah, that was my fault. That was terrible.
Wide receiver best at 3. It's like, yeah. So the rookie mini camps went through, and some of the quarterbacks got some work. Shedeur Sanders looked good overall, and it was funny because I made a comment about the way that he taps the ball timing wise, right? Mm-hmm. And people were super mad about it. They're like, tapping the ball doesn't matter. Brady did it and Breeze does it, and all of that. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, that's true, but they also didn't do it at the exact timing consistency, right? Like, if you looked at Brady, he would tap the ball like going through progressions, or then he would hold on with 2 hands, like he'd mix it up. Whereas with Shedeur during camp, it was pat and go, right? So people were like, oh, DBs can't look at that. And it's like, okay, yeah, if you're in man coverage, yeah, you can't peek at the receiver, or at the quarterback, because you'll get burnt. No question. If you have deep coverage, right? If you're in zone and you have the deep third, deep quarter, obviously, again, can't be peeking at the quarterback because you got to make sure nobody's deeper than you. But if you're in zone and you have a low zone and you watch film, you have top leverage on a player, of course you can peek. Right. Because you're looking at that 3-step drop. You're looking at arm movement. You're looking at if they pat the ball. And it was just hilarious because they're like, oh, yeah, you can't look. So if no one's ever looking at the quarterback, a no-look pass wouldn't matter, right? Like, a no-look pass wouldn't be impressive because obviously nobody's trailing the eyes or the body language of a quarterback. It's like, what are you guys even talking about? Yeah. Of course, if you have position, you can peek. Yeah. And then one of the other people commented they're like, well, what if there's a lineman in your way? It's like, well, then you can't see the quarterback and it doesn't matter. Like, what are we talking about?
Right. These sounds like the comments of either A, I'm going to defend Sanders to the death, right? Or B, I like people like me. I've never played, so I'm just going to argue what I think anyway because it doesn't matter. Like, come on, guys. If somebody who's played is telling you this stuff, I work with a guy who's played. When we talk and he's like explaining play breakdowns, I shut up. Look, I wasn't on the field. When I was on the field, nobody really cared what we were doing. So there was no teaching going on in my 2 illustrious years of forgotten football. So if somebody's out here telling me, but Yeah, you can't think that every single play, nobody ever sees the quarterback ever. That's the craziest thing ever. No one ever sees him, like he's invisible back there, and then the football just comes out. You're right, guys. You know, Bo's wrong. You're right.
Yeah.
No one
Yeah.
ever knows what the quarterback's doing.
Bo is always wrong. And I mean, I get it. That's fine. That's fine. And I did play in the secondary. You know, there's a funny thing in a zone that a free safety does, or sometimes a middle linebacker, called a spy. What is he watching if it's not the quarterback?
The sideline.
And it's funny because they're like, oh, the ball tap isn't going to do anything for you. It's like, well, yeah, the ball tap by itself won't. But if you watch film and you pay attention, then yeah, if you see a 3-step drop that this particular route, this guy runs into your zone, he hits the 3-step drop and he throws the ball. Now you add a hitch to his throw that gives you an extra, half a second, maybe. A 0.3 to a half a second is the difference between a tackle and a deflected pass.
Yes.
Like
easily.
In a game of inches and stuff, you can't tell me that little telltale signs don't help you.
Yeah.
So it's been hilarious, but yeah, people have been losing their minds. I've been laughing about it. It's on TikTok. It's got like 1.7 million views because people are just losing their minds about it. They're like, I'm a coach, I'm a player. And it's like, if that's the case, then you should understand that I'm talking about the timing of it, not the fact that he tapped the ball.
Right.
It's literally that he's like, tap, toss. Well, that slows your throwing motion.
Right.
Right. Now, if you were to, mix it up, sure. But what I was talking about was camp, where he did it at the exact same timing every single time. It's like, well, yeah, if you're a defender, you're going to look at all of those little things. Now, does it matter all the time? No, because like I said before, if you're in man coverage or something like that, yeah, you can't look because your primary job is the receiver that you're guarding.
Right.
But if you're playing a low zone, you're playing the zone, not the man. So when a guy comes into your zone, you're still watching stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to have the most ridiculous tunnel vision to be like only guy. So
right.
if he scrambles, I guess you're just hosed because you're never going to see the quarterback because he's
right.
invisible.
I told you, he's invisible. He's invisible. And I don't think these people are thinking about this. You don't need him to make a mistake on every play. A lot of times games are flipped. You just need him to make a mistake one time.
Exactly.
That third quarter pick six that you bring back that ends up being the thing. You're going like, what'd you? Well, been watching film, saw him tap the ball. Knew if I slid over one step, the ball was coming. I did, took it back. Yeah. That's huge. These guys are acting like, oh, he was still 15 for 20. Okay, but what happened in those 5 he missed?
Exactly.
Well, that one interception they took back, and we ended up losing the game by 4. There you go, too. So
yeah, no, it's been funny, and it. I don't know. It's been laughable. It's been laughable. So, and the best thing is whether you agree with me or not, I don't care.
You get the clicks. So, shoot, 1.7. I'm going to go out and say some stuff just to make. We have a guy who's on our network who's always telling us, not say our network, the network that we're part of now, always telling us not controversial stuff. Like he'll be behind the scenes producing a show. Say this, it'll get everyone mad. He's just looking for the clicks, man. It's like you said once, man, whether they love you or they hate you, they're watching you. And that helps you either way. So you can get those looks. So definitely.
One of the comments was like, who listens to this? And I was like, I mean, you did.
Yeah. hate to be the one to break it to you, but
it was priceless. And the thing that's funny is it's not even like I said anything controversial or like anything about his character. Like this is like I was attacking his character, the way people are responding to this. And it's just like all I said was it's a mechanics thing that the Browns will have to correct. Right? Like it's a mechanical thing because it's part of his throwing motion that he's currently doing.
Right.
What part of that was disparaging his character as a person? Like it is hilarious. They're like, oh yeah, anything to hate on this kid. It's like, well, no, I said the one thing I noticed, right? Otherwise, he had a good camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think was the Shady McCoy was out there talking about how good he looked in camp and everything. Sanders has just become one of those people, man. It's like a love or hate thing now. And everyone wants to put you in one of those two camps. And it's like, you say anything bad, oh, Bo's a hater. What? No, so I just can't report on what's going on. Is that what it is? So, but you know how that is. You say anything perceived to be negative, and all of a sudden you're against it. Like, I don't think we've ever said on the show that we were rooting against him. You know, we understood the slide, and I think he caused a lot of his own problems. But you know, I don't root against him. I don't want anybody's future to be done because of that. You know, if he's a good quarterback, it'll be proven. If he's not, he's not. I mean, it's in his hands now.
Well, and I think that quarterback room is going to be a ton of fun to watch. I wish it was on Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a weird quarterback room.
Yes.
So, I mean,
I'm only watching if they make Deshaun Watson roll out there while he's like getting a massage.
Yes. Yes. You know, and then, you know, one of the other things they brought up, they're like, well, how come you didn't talk about Jackson Dart spinning the ball in his hand? And it's like, well, first off, it's only an hour show. Like, you can't cover every player in the league. And besides, we're talking about a short. That's 60 seconds or less. How many guys can you cover in 60 seconds in a meaningful way?
Yeah. I can name a lot, but there'll be no context.
These players exist. It's like, what are we doing right now? Yeah, no, it's
absolutely do a short where you talk about that. These are the players that were in minicamp. All right, thanks for watching.
Right. See y'all next week. Yeah, no, it's I don't know. It's been funny. You know, and their argument about Dart. I mean, yeah, he's spinning the ball in his hand. We watched Baker Mayfield do it in a game like 2 years ago, but not a great thing either, right? I mean, you don't want to be spinning the ball because that means you don't really have a grip on it, right? If somebody comes from the backside, like that ball is definitely out.
Right.
You know, and then so there's just obviously there's things, but I don't know. Them losing their mind has been great, but yeah, Dart spinning the ball, like that's definitely something they're going to be like, hey, yeah, don't do that in a game. Like, just, you know, with two hands, roll it around to where you want it.
Can I also say something about that point? More people are going to react to a short about Sanders than they are about Dart. So, like, guess what, folks? We're in this business to get more eyeballs and more clicks. More of y'all care about Sanders, so you know, I could do a short cussing Jackson Dart out, and people are like, yeah. But if I was like, yeah, Sanders is a bum, I might have more people on it. I mean, it's just you guys
Man, I don't know if I'd have said that on the air. Someone's going to just screenshot that and put it out there as like a 2-second clip. Herb thinks he's a bum. Probably get like 5 million views though.
You know, I mean, I'm willing to trade the views for a little more hate, so it's fine. But they'll ignore the whole part about Dart. I mean, that's just how it is. So people. Look at you didn't talk anything about Cam Ward going number 1, but you talked about Sanders going in the 5th round. So
yeah. Well, I mean, and I haven't even seen anything really out of Cam Ward, right? I think the situation with Carr leaving Shug is going to be an interesting thing to watch too, right? Because now he's probably going to be the guy. I don't think he's ready for that.
No.
But one of the big things for Dart, it's like, okay, yeah, he's spinning the ball and doing stuff like that, but he's in no danger of starting, right? I mean, he's going to get plenty of time to become the guy because he's behind Wilson. He's behind Winston. So he's not going to pass either one of those guys to get a start. Not this year.
Right.
So even if he does have some mechanical things, it's not as big of a deal. When you look at the Browns, every single one of those guys have a shot at getting this starting job. So if you see things that potentially show up on tape, then yeah, that can be a problem. Whereas for Dart, it's like, yeah, he spins the ball. They're going to tell him not to do that, but he's going to have a year to figure out how to not do that.
Right. With the Browns, you know, with their quarterback room, potentially none of them could be their guy for next year, and they might be drafting this again. So everybody's in this time period of where we need to know now what we got, and if you're the guy. We're not spending a couple years on this because, look, The numbers are going up. What are we at 30 right now? We're trying to reach 50 as far as our quarterbacks. So we got to keep cycling through this whole thing.
Yep.
Where quarterbacks go to die, Cleveland.
Pretty much. Yeah. No, it's man, I don't know. But people lose their mind over the silliest thing.
Yes.
So, they're reading so much more into a short that just isn't what they're making it out to be. It's like, okay, here's this one little thing. Yeah. Oh my God, you hate this guy. It's like, what? That's like saying, I really like grapes. You hate apples. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Which is, that has always been one of the things I hate the most. If I say something about one person, it's like, it has nothing to do with the correlation of anything else, Yeah. Hey, this guy's my favorite player. Oh, so you just don't like such? No, I'm just saying he's my favorite. I don't know anything about anything else. So win, loss of mine. Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, definitely not. That'd probably get me stabbed, man.
Yeah. Yes.
The thing is obviously it's not like Gabriel doesn't have faults too. I mean, he pats the ball. He just doesn't do it at the same timing every time. He did throw a pick in a walkthrough. So, I mean, that's not a great look, but probably don't want that.
I just
so, I mean,
that guy wasn't even trying.
Right. Wrong color jersey, man. Yeah. It's I don't know. Much ado about nothing is really what it is, but it's funny because it's still going crazy over there. Yeah, no, he's done. I would say that Gabriel and Sanders have done exactly what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like they're going in, they're learning, they're doing all the things they're supposed to do. They are, really respectful to the media, have a great attitude. I would say that you couldn't ask for more out of either one of those two guys. Yeah. Like they're in there doing exactly what they're supposed to do. And, Sanders, although was bummed that he slid, has just embraced it and been like, hey,
right,
time to work. And so I love that attitude because that's exactly what it is. One of the biggest things is, my buddy Coach Bono, he's like, yeah, getting drafted is day one. Like now the work starts. Yeah. So, he's like, a lot of the guys that wash out of the league are the ones that, because they got drafted, think they made it. You got drafted. You're still not on the team yet.
Yeah. That was Scatabo from the Giants. That was his quote. He said, I've played 0 snaps. He's like, there's nothing to be happy about yet. I got to prove myself. So
yeah, no, exactly.
And by the way, can we say this to the people watching too? Bo was the one that said Gabriel was a perfect fit for the Browns. So he never hated him. He said it was a perfect pick and a perfect fit for what they run. So
yeah, no, he fits their offense very well. Yep. So I mean, it's yeah. Bono's a legend. He's now coaching down in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So.
And by the way, I got to explain Rogers real quick because I know we got to go.
Yep.
I used Logjam a year ago, and he had never heard anyone use that. So now it's a thing. So.
See, I think you got to bring brain is like a bag of cats back into the show.
Yes. So. It's on the next one then.
That being said, that does get us to the top of the hour. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. We're getting really close to that 1,000 mark. And, of course, if you're watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. Otherwise, we are going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.
Hi, Mom.